Boo! At the open, all-time high for the S&P 500.
It's your boy Jimmy.
Now, what's worth doing is worth doing for money.
Straight from y'all street to Wall Street.
Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil, doesn't make up happen.
Dudes wake up, hope their girl turned on so they can get a little bit. Only woman in the morning, I wanna turn on this. Becky quick. While the average man looking at it's sad like she fine as yeah. I'm over here looking at tails and whips like yeah, 5-6. I left the mayhem for the market. Now I don't want a dope spot, I want to stop it. I know that booty got dry, triggered my stop losses, but I ain't got time for your wop. My V-wops crossing. Rich with hot V's and pushing hot keys. Strategy and plans to make grand. Still in my wife beater, Batman pajamas, house slides, and about 5 hot picks for the day. Cause I like the way the Dow bounce. 4 hot dips on call, so I got options. 2 with a lot of volume, 1 with a double bottle. Now I know dumb money don't understand. Am I talking about my trade or just thinking with my MACD? You see, we different in the way we move. You move with kittens and your dog, I move with bears and wolves. I got a green thought, grow with the marijuana. Waking up with the fun, open up some commas. Jump out of bed, big profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, big profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL, make profits. I jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. Yeah. See, me and Jim Cramer been talking mad money. Said today I'm taking a risk. They got the feds coming, but I got support here with me. I call a short squeeze. You get the drop, she pull the trigger and abort these. If she stay on my watch list, I might have to wife her. But I know better. I'm a true trading group lifer. Call up the Wolf of Weed Street. It's time to flip some profits. Go ahead, be hawking. Get your spot here. I'll double top that in the head and shoulders. Hit him up with this resistance. Watch him roll over. Cause I see John Wicks in contract. If I say I make $1 million a day, well, that's a large cap. You moving average, that's why you get crossed. Get split, get delisted, and knocked off. and I'm setting the whole block off. I'm buying GameStop and selling them roadblocks off. Jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up watching them games, make profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Used to run from the ATL and them cops. Now I run down ETL. Hey, my family. Hey, go, what we doing, my man? Make profits. Hey, Shug, Mike, what we doing, dog? Make profits. Yo, Wolf, Professor, what we doing? Make profits. That TTG money gang, making profits.
Hey, yo, what's up, boys and girls? How are you all doing today? Welcome to the True Trading Group live stream where we will do live coverage of earnings. That's why I love earnings season. I really do. I love earnings season because they're going to come on here all the time. I'm going to give you guys this live coverage of all of these earnings. We have to go live right after the close. It's a lot of fun. We had a great day today inside of True Trading Group. 3 for 3. I like the sound of that. It's a nice day. Biggest trade of the day for me was long HIMS. It was a really great trade. It was a bit of a short squeeze there following the earnings, and also made a little bit of money on Tesla and Microsoft, with the majority of the profit today did come from that HIMS trade. We'll talk about all of that. We'll go through it, but that's what happened today. Let's talk about what we think is going to happen tomorrow, and earnings has a lot to do with that. My name is Michael Edward Parinati. I go by Michael Edward. I'm the co-founder and head trader of True Trading Group. In case you guys did not know, we are the fastest growing and highest rated premium online educational platform that combines university level trading and investing courses with premium stock market tools, live workshops, individual mentorship and coaching for stocks, options, and futures. We day trade. We swing trade. We also cover long-term portfolio investing. We do it all inside of True Trading Group. There's literally something for everybody. Over 10,000 members from 114 different countries. Truly a global community here at True Trading Group. And if you guys are in search of an AI tool, an AI trading assistant that can help you guys make better decisions and flat out help you make money, look no further. True Trading Group is the recipient of the 2024 Benzinga FinTech Chairman's Award for Best AI Analysis Tool. There's my business partner and I actually up on stage receiving that award. And that is something that our members are able to now implement to help them make money, help them become better traders, make trading easier for them, make better decisions. You name it, we've got it. It's an honor to be recognized with this award. And it's nice to see industry leaders recognizing True Trading Group for what it is that we are doing, implementing AI technology into our platform to help retail traders make money. Without any further ado, let's get on over to the charts. Let's talk about what we've got cooking with earnings. Well, before I get into earnings, in case you guys are wondering why I should listen to what I say on this YouTube channel, it's not because I think that I'm the world's greatest trader. It's because I didn't figure this stuff out on my own. For those that are maybe here for the first time, don't know me or my background, I began my trading career working at T3 Alpha Fund in New York City. My first job out of college, they had me go through a training program before they let me touch $1 of their money. And then 2008 happened, which was the Great Recession and the big stock market crash. But that's also the same year I received one of the Fund's Trader of the Year awards. And now you fast forward, I'm the co-founder and head trader of TTG. All right. So let's dive in. Let's cover it. Earnings. The one that we care about most, at least we here at True Trading Group, maybe not everybody on the live stream, but at least the one we care about most is AMD. Yes, I am a long-term shareholder of AMD. And their earnings are actually pretty good. And there's one thing that I really want to highlight. It has actually nothing to do with their earnings, but it has to do with what Lisa Su, that's the CEO, what she actually said. And it has me optimistic. Okay, it does have me optimistic. Oh, wait, hold on. We have another news. Okay. But on AMD, let's go over the numbers. It's a top and bottom line beat for AMD. Earnings per share come in at 96 cents. Analysts were expecting 94 cents. Sales come in at 7.44 billion. Analysts were expecting 7.13 billion. Their guidance, they gave a range of 7.1 to 7.7 billion. Analysts were only expecting 7.24. So it is a strong guide and a top and bottom line beat for AMD. Stock's up 2.5% on the day, up more than that after hours because the stock was down. Earlier. So we're up just under 5%, up around 4.5% or so after hours, and up about 2.5%. On the day. The thing about AMD, AMD has really fallen behind in the AI race, right? I mean, you can't compare what happened with, NVIDIA and AMD used to be side by side, neck and neck prior to the AI boom. You go back to 2018, 2019, 2020. These stocks were trading kind of lockstep right around the same price. They were trading at similar valuations. And NVIDIA over the last couple of years has absolutely exploded. And driven by it's really NVIDIA has, supplanted itself as the clear-cut leader in the AI hardware space. And AMD has really not been able to do that. AMD, has been beaten up over the last several months. Stock is well off of its all-time high that was put in place there back in early 2024 when we got all the way to $225 a share. You're now all the way down to 103. So they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do from an AI standpoint. Their GPU is great, but they've got a lot of work to do from the AI standpoint. And one of the things that the reason why I said, but there is one thing specifically about the earnings that has me optimistic is Lisa Su said in their earnings that they have had a very strong start to 2025, driven mostly by data center and AI momentum. That's a great sign, right? That's a great sign. Now, Lisa Su, let me explain to you guys. So the reason why I'm actually a shareholder of AMD is because I absolutely love Lisa Su. I bought AMD originally all the way back in 2018. And then 2020 was really my first sizable purchase. And then I bought the stock every year since 2020. So it is a nice position for me. It's certainly not as nice as my NVIDIA position, but still a nice position. But I love Lisa Su. I think she is a masterful CEO. She took over this company when she became CEO of AMD. The stock was at $2. The $2. And I'll never forget, she came on CNBC. And at the time when she came on CNBC, the stock was around $5. And she said to Jim Cramer, she was basically just told everybody, you should be buying my stock right now. Now, long story short, that $2 stock at the time, $5 stock went all the way to $220 just back in 2024. So I really do like her, but AMD has some work to do. They have a lot of catching up to do. If you're ever going to put them back in the same discussions as in NVIDIA, Broadcom has really, made a huge jump lately over the last 2 years that really Broadcom has really moved itself into that second slot for AI. And I think this is a nice earnings report for AMD. It's not it's not like a massive beat, but it is a solid report. And what we look for now on AMD is a level that used to be resistance, that previously was support. You now look for that to continue to hold, and you look for AMD to actually try to work its way back to the upside. And what I'm looking at here, I'll show you the level on AMD. You can see a very clear-cut support level that we had, back here in March. And then you had the tariff announcement on April 2nd and the huge gap down in the break, right? Then you had the 90-day tariff pause, and you got the explosion, and you found resistance at that level. And then you found resistance at that level. And then you found resistance at that level. And then just a couple of days ago, you gapped above it and found support now at that level. And then now today, support again at that level. So this is your new support level here for AMD. It's around $98, $97. Okay, $97, $98. This is going to be your support level for AMD. And now they come out with earnings, and the earnings are good. That should help AMD solidify itself above this support level and look for AMD to try to push itself back to the upside and try to push a little bit higher. I would not be surprised if we can get AMD now back above the Liberation Day price and work its way into 108.5. That to me looks like a really nice level for a target for AMD. Now let's draw a line across and explain to you, where am I getting that 108.5 level from? Let's draw it out. There it is. Just call it 108. Make the math easy. Just call it 108. Okay. So where do we get this from? Well, first, you've got this purple line right here. That's the 100-day moving average. And then as I zoom this in, you'll see a little bit of structure all the way back here. You got to go, go back to February. You see a little bit of structure there in February. And then you'll see some structure tops. Then you'll see a bottom and then another top. Nothing too major, right? Nothing too major, but I feel like that's a nice little area. Okay. I feel like that's a nice little area. So I think that you're probably going to be looking at this zone down here in AMD to be support over the next couple of days and see if AMD can work its way up towards 108. Now, obviously, AMD being a semiconductor, it's going to be, a pretty high beta there. It will move with the overall index. And if you get any type of a news headline regarding, tariffs or trade or anything like that, obviously, then AMD will be susceptible to whether it's an up move or a down move, depending on what those news headlines are. We are in an extremely high headline risk environment right now. Okay, at any moment's notice, you can get a news headline that comes across the wire that nobody was ready for, that nobody was anticipating, that moves this market in a big way. Okay, so you always want to make sure that you keep your head on a swivel and you guys are ready for anything. All right, that is AMD. We'll see what happens in the overnight session, and we'll see where we're sitting tomorrow. Tomorrow is the Fed meeting. Okay, so a big day tomorrow. I'm a little skeptical going into tomorrow, and I'll explain to you guys what my thoughts are on the overall market and what my thoughts are on the Fed meeting in just a moment. But first, let's hit on some of the other companies that came out with earnings. The other company that I really just don't like, it's SMCI. I really, honestly, I really can't stand this management team. I think they're a bunch of snakes, if I'm being completely honest. But this stock got pulverized the other week because they came out with a pre-guide because their earnings were going to be so much worse than what the street was expecting, and the company has an obligation. If you're going to miss earnings estimates by 10% or more, you have an obligation to actually pre-release. Their earnings now actually, you already had this move down. This stock was up at $36. It gapped all the way down to 29, right? Gapped all the way down to 29. And now you're just sitting here down like 2% on the day. So their numbers actually did come out, but we already knew these earnings were going to be bad. Okay. Because they pre-announced this last week. So earnings per share, 31 cents. That's a miss against 50 cents. And then sales, 4.6 billion. Analysts were expecting 5.4 billion. They lowered their guidance from 23.5 to 25 billion. They lowered it to 21.8 to 22.6 billion. Analysts were expecting 24 billion. They see Q4 EPS. Their calendar is not. They're on Q4. They just reported their Q3. So here's their Q4. They're expecting 40 to 50 cents earnings per share. Analysts were expecting 69 cents, and they see sales of 5.6 to 6.4 billion. And that is against analysts' expectations of 6.82 billion. Just terrible. Just not a good report. I am not a shareholder of SMCI. I never have been. I've traded SMCI many times. It's been a very fun stock to trade, but I don't own it in the long-term portfolio. When push comes to shove, I do not trust their management team. That is just as plain as it could be. All right. So that is SMCI. Let's hit on a couple others. I know a couple of fan favorites. Rivian came out with earnings. Stock's really not doing much. Rivian's earnings, I'll give you guys the numbers. 1.24 billion. Analysts were only expecting 1.02 billion. Adjusted law, they lost 48 cents a share. Analysts were expecting 92 cents a share. So that is a double beat. That is a double beat there. They actually reported record gross profit, but they did lower their delivery estimates on tariff concerns. So, it's a good report for Rivian, but they did lower delivery estimates because of tariffs or the uncertainty surrounding tariffs. So that stock is basically flat on the day. Another stock that I do not own currently in my long-term portfolio. Another fan favorite is Lucid. I got to be honest with you guys. I think it's only a matter of time before Lucid becomes a private company. I don't think this company is going to be a public company for, you fast forward, a couple of years from now. I don't think that Lucid is a publicly traded stock anymore. I think that the Saudis are just going to, buy out the remaining shares of Lucid. They already own like over 60-something% of the company. And I just think they're going to just buy this out. It doesn't make sense for the company, for this to be a public company. I just think that Lucid is going to turn out to be, the Saudis are all about image. They're all about brand. They're all about luxury, high end. And that's exactly what Lucid is. Lucid is the luxury electric vehicle. It is trying to be the Ferrari of the EV market with, six-figure models. And I think that would fall right in line with, the portfolio of brands and companies that the Saudi investment fund has. And I just think that at some point they're going to just acquire that. They're just going to acquire all the outstanding shares. But the numbers are a beat on earnings per share, but a miss on sales. They lost 20 cents a share. Analysts were expecting them to lose 23 cents a share. Sales come in at Sales come in at 235 million. Analysts were expecting 250 million. That stock's just down 0.5% on the day. Nothing major to really report there. UPST, another stock that we like to trade. We actually have recently just traded this stock. Big move to the downside, down 18.5%. Blech. What happened there? I don't like this company either. I do not own this in my long-term portfolio. It is a fun stock to trade. However, we have traded it multiple times. Honestly, just in the last month, we've traded UPST. In the last 2 months, I believe we traded this a couple of times. But you ran right into resistance of the 200-day moving average, and then now have dropped back beneath the 50-day and have fallen back through prior support of 45. You had a nice little support level that was trying to establish itself right here in the mid-40s. You guys can see support here in March, then support here again, broke underneath it with the tariff announcement, then resistance, then back above it, then support. So this was a real nice price structure area for UPST. Now you're back underneath it, which means you would then look for this zone to be resistance on bounce backs, and then see if there's a continuation of a fade on UPST, something that looks more like that. All right, so that's kind of what I'll be looking for there on UPST. Let's go over what the actual numbers are. And the numbers here are as follows. 30 cents earnings per share. Analysts were only expecting 17 cents. Sales, 213 million. That is a beat against 199.5 million. So those earnings were actually pretty good. Fortress Investment Group is actually going to be purchasing $1.2 billion of consumer loans that originated on the Upstart platform. They see Q2 sales of 225 million versus 224 million. And they gave full year guidance 1 billion to 1.01 billion versus analyst expectation of 1 billion. I'm not sure why Upstart is down 18.5%. These earnings are actually not that bad. I think maybe the fact that Fortress Investment is buying some loans off of the Upstart platform, I think maybe that is maybe could be spooking people maybe a little bit. If I had to, because the numbers themselves are not bad. Yeah, no, these numbers aren't bad. It's not a bad earnings report, guys, for Upstart. But I think maybe just some concern, some worry there about, why would they be selling some loans that originated on their platform? The thought there might be a liquidity concerns. Maybe if they're going to try to sell those loans, maybe the reasoning behind that is causing investor concern. Let's see. But then you've got thinkers. So all right, so we're getting different reports here. So one report is saying that Upstart, one report is saying that their sales guidance, their guidance for the next quarter is higher than expected. Another report is showing that it is under expectations. Somebody here is wrong. All right, I got to look further into this, guys, because I do have conflicting reports here. It would make sense if they missed on their sales guidance, and that's why the stock is down 18%. But I will have to go and check on that for you guys. Another company out with earnings is Wynn, another stock that's really not moving around. Very, very muted earnings session here. $1.07, that's a miss versus $1.19 on earnings per share. And they also missed on sales, 1.7 versus 1.74 billion. Excuse me. So Wynn coming in light, top and bottom line miss there for Wynn Resorts. And that's it. I mean, those are really the earnings reports that I wanted to cover with you guys. AMD just kind of digesting here above 103. We'll look for that for a possible trade tomorrow. And then we can touch on maybe a little bit on what happened today. I'll have AMD on the watch list for tomorrow. That's probably the only one that'll be on the watch list tomorrow out of your earnings reports. Maybe UPST. AMD and UPST will be on the lookout there for a trade for us for tomorrow. Okay. My TC fam, I'll go over that with you guys tomorrow morning pre-market. I think we also have TEM is out with earnings. Tempus AI, let's go through this one. They lost 24 cents a share against 27-cent estimate. That's a beat. And they also beat on sales, 255.7 million. Analysts were expecting 248 million. They raised their guidance from 1.24 billion to 1.25 billion. Analysts were expecting 1.22 billion. So that is a top bottom line beat and a guidance raise for TEM. And that stock is also trading to the downside, down 4% right now on the day. And that stock's actually trading lower. This was the Nancy Pelosi stock that went crazy in January and February when Nancy Pelosi disclosed her position. Interesting. It's not a bad report. Not a bad report. All right, folks. Palantir. Well, listen, we talked about Palantir earnings yesterday. And we talked about this in the live stream yesterday. I told you guys yesterday that I thought Palantir had more downside today. And I told you guys that I thought Palantir was going to work its way down to the low 100s. Yes. OSCU, yes. OSK, SMCI's earnings did come out. They're terrible. But that's not a surprise. That we knew that they were going to be terrible. They kind of pre-announced that their earnings were going to be completely terrible a week ago. That's why the stock gapped down 25% or 20% in one day. So they already kind of told you their earnings were going to be terrible, and their earnings were terrible. So the stock's only down 1.8% right now on the day, but really the real move was when the stock did this. That was the earnings move. They announced last week that the earnings were going to be bad. And so people kind of got ahead of that, and they sold the stock, down there. And the stock was down 20% or so on that day. Okay, so that's why the stock is just kind of sitting there. All right. So yeah, Palantir, they had earnings yesterday, and the earnings were actually great. It was a top and bottom line beat. They beat on guidance. The problem with Palantir is not their earnings. The problem with Palantir is the valuation. The valuation is just too damn high. And in order for that stock to really move significantly higher through to an all-time high, those earnings were going to have to not just beat and raise, they would have to absolutely crush. They would have to absolutely crush, like the way that Nvidia crushed back in 2023, because they need the earnings number and that PE ratio. They need that earnings number to jump like significantly in order to bring the PE ratio down, because right now it is the most expensive stock from a multiple standpoint or PE ratio standpoint in the S&P 500. It is extremely expensive. So yesterday they came out with earnings. Their earnings were good. They beat and they raised, but they didn't beat and raise by enough to justify or to bring new buyers in at a PE ratio that's triple digits. And that's essentially what happened. So you got some profit taking yesterday. People that owned it, solidifies a double top at the all-time high, and it's just earnings was not good enough to make new investors come in and say, yeah, I want to buy the stock because the valuation here makes sense. So the stock's got to cool off now. I think you're probably going to consolidate here in the 100, 110 zone for probably maybe even a couple of weeks. The stock might consolidate in here. I think you have a nice support level down there, like 98 to 100. I think is a really good support level. I'll show you guys on the chart. This is a nice little support level here. And I think that if you're going to look for a long, I think you should wait for this level to be tested. Okay. I think you wait for this level to be tested. That's the spot where I would say at that point, you can look for bounces. You can look for longs. I think trying to go long it ahead of that is, might be tough. That might be a little premature. Okay. All righty. That's Palantir. Yeah. What's NTCL doing? That stock went nuts. It's not doing anything in the after hours, really. It went nuts during the day. And, oh, no, you actually just made a new high in the after hours. So this won't halt now, guys. Okay? This will not halt now. So, for those of you that are, brave enough to try to trade this after hours, you're just in the middle of a short squeeze right now on NTCL. As far as resistance levels, there aren't any. This is an all-time high. And I think if you're going to try to trade this, you got to look for those mid to high 40s to be support. Stop loss, probably down around 40, and see if you're going to get a squeeze. So I would say you would look for this stock to possibly do this and then that, and use this area here as a possible support level. And then here could be your stop loss. If you're brave enough to trade this after hours. Remember, you can't market order after hours. You got to use limit orders. Liquidity is light. Spreads are wide. I would not recommend you try trading this if you are an inexperienced trader. This would be for experienced traders only. All right, now let's get over to HIMS, because HIMS was my big money maker today. So one of my top ideas today on the watch list was HIMS long at 38. And my goodness, was that analysis correct? But the stock ran away from me in the morning. And I didn't get filled anywhere near my 38, the 38 level that I wanted. I don't usually enter trades right off the opening bell. I don't, markets open, I'm not in a trade. I wait a couple of minutes, I let the markets open up, I let the stocks open up, I let that initial, rush of orders from market makers and everything come flying in, and I let that, first candle or two kind of, establish itself before I go ahead and start taking trades. I very rarely am I in a trade within the first 3 minutes of the day. But today, HIMS, you need it to be. But the lesson that I want you to take from this HIMS trade is the following. If a stock is truly strong, you will get more than one crack at it. Meaning if you miss your initial entry point on a stock and it runs away from you, if the stock is truly strong, you'll get another chance to enter the trade with a follow-through setup or continuation move. So when you miss your entry point, don't kick and scream and get upset. Stay poised, stay focused, wait for another opportunity to enter the trade, because if a stock is truly strong, you'll get more than one crack at it. And that is exactly what happened with HIMS. Beautifully executed, beautifully traded today. This is where I made the bulk of my money today. So the reason why this was on our watch list coming into the day today, the company had earnings. Earnings were actually good. They had, you also have over 30% of the float is short, and you have a beautiful support level at 38. Now, what you'll see here on my screen, and I already have this drawn out because this was on my chart from earlier. This was on my chart from last night when I was doing my live stream on this channel covering the earnings. You'll see the resistance level at 38. So here you see this top 38. Here you see, 3 days tops at 38. Here you see all this resistance here at 38. And you see support, 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 right? So support, resistance, resistance, resistance. You broke above that, okay, on Friday and really cleared this level out. This is a confirmed level clear out because of the extension through the level and the increase in volume through the level. That confirms this level is cleared. When a level is confirmed cleared, you look for it to start to become the opposite. So if it was resistance and it's confirmed cleared, you then look for support. So today it was gapping down into 38, and the game plan today was long at 38. Well, stock opened up and just exploded. So that's a candle that I put in here today. Let's go to the 3-minute chart, and you'll see, right now there's 38, and 38 is being support. Let's go to the 3-minute chart just so you guys can see exactly kind of what happened there today. There's the support level that we drew, and you guys can see the very first candle of the day, just huge green candle, huge green candle, huge. It just ran away right off the open. And because I don't enter trades within the first 3 minutes of the day, I never got into my position during any of this. Okay, I never got into any of it. I wasn't going to chase the move, although in this scenario, it would have worked to chase the move, but that's not my style. It's not my strategy. I don't adjust my style or strategy for the stock. I find stocks that fit my style and strategy. I don't change my style and strategy. Okay, a lot of traders will try doing that, and you really screw yourself up because you maintain no consistency in the process that you have, and you're always doing something different. You're always changing, and that's why you're not getting consistent. You're not getting consistent results because you keep trying to trade differently, right? You keep trying to trade differently. What you need to do is find your strategy, find your style that works for you, that gives you a consistent result, and then you find stocks, you find setups that fit your strategy and style. You don't change your style and strategy for each stock that you're going to trade. Sometimes there are setups and sometimes there are stocks. Although the stock moves higher, it does not fit your style. It does not fit your strategy. Therefore, you need to go try to find something else. Don't get distracted by what a bunch of people are talking about on social media. It doesn't matter what people are talking about on social media. What matters is that you find a setup that fits your style and strategy. That's what matters. And I'm not going to change my strategy and just chase HIMS off the opening bell. Yes, it would have worked this time, but I'm not changing it. My style is, I'm a conservative style trader. That means it has nothing to do with position size. I trade with very large size. It means if you're a conservative style trader, that means you like to buy pullbacks into support and you like to short bounces into resistance, rather than an aggressive trader likes to buy breaks through resistance and they short breaks through support. So it's just an opposite type of, it's just a different style. So what I had to do, I really like this HIMS trade for the long and for the short squeeze, but I missed my initial entry at 38. So I don't chase the stock. I just let it go. I missed it. Okay, let it go. Let it go. Wait to see, is it going to give me another opportunity to enter the stock that fits my style, that fits my strategy? Well, what I just say one of my strategies is I like to buy pullbacks into support. Okay, great. The stock just exploded. It was down 8%, then it was up 8%. It was a 16% net move from the $38 gap down 8% to the $48.50 top, okay, up 8%. It was an absolute insane move. The volume through on that move was insane. You can see the volume on that move. Okay, well, we took out Friday's high. Okay, we took out Friday's high. So now I'm saying to myself, where's my next support level? My next support level after you broke through that, okay, after you broke through that with heavy volume, I'm going to say, all right, well, let me look to see if that prior high is now going to be support. because that's going to be my entry point. And if I don't get a pullback to 43, then I don't get an entry and I don't enter the trade. It's just that simple. So we don't kick, we don't scream, we don't fret, we don't say, oh man, I missed it. Oh man, oh man, oh man. No, if the stock is truly strong, you'll get more than one crack at it. Don't let a stock's price action dictate your style. Do not let a stock's price action make your decision for you. You are in control of your decisions. You are in control of your entries and your exits. Do not change your strategy based on the price movement of the stock. Be patient, be disciplined. That will help you way more in the long run of your trading career than it will making a change to catch one stock's move. I promise you, I've been doing this for 19 years. I know a thing or two. When I say something like this, what I'm telling you, what will benefit you for the longevity of your trading career, I'm telling you, having consistency in your strategy will help you far, far, far more. Okay? So back to HIMS. Clean break, good volume, excellent. Let's look for another entry point. If we pull back into 43, we're going to take that long. I told all of our members, and this is what your members get inside True Trading Group. You have myself, 8 other professional traders that share their screen, that trade with you live, that answer questions, that send out their trade alerts when they enter and exit every single day from pre-market to close. You guys get that analysis from our professional traders and from our mods. So I told everybody, oh, guys, listen, if we pull back into that prior day's high, 43, I'm going to go long. Well, we just got to wait. 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 Oh, bang. All right. Now let's do it. There's my entry. I wanted to pull back into 43. Now, most traders with inexperienced traders would look at this chart and they would say, there's absolutely no possible way in hell I'm going to buy the stock right there. And the reason why most inexperienced traders would say there's absolutely no possible way that I'm going to buy the stock right there, because they just watched 6 consecutive red candles get put in. And the stock is going down. And an inexperienced trader is going to say, I'm not going to buy this stock. The stock's going down. Well, guess what? When the stock was at 47, and I said, if it gets to 43, I'm going to buy it. If 43 is my support, if 43 is my entry, there is only one possible way for the stock to go from 47 to 43. And that is to go down. Okay. That is to put in red candles. So when you see the red candles, they should not scare you. You need them to get to your entry point. And that's exactly what happened. We got to our entry point. You get a nice little bottom tail there on that next candle, kind of confirms the bottom. And then the rest is history. And the stock just ends up ripping itself all the way back up towards highs and makes a new high and extends and squeezes into the afternoon. This is a monster trade for us. It was absolutely a thing of beauty. And I'm actually still long 10% of my position from 43.5. So I still have, I'm in a runner. So for me, a runner means I've far exceeded my expectations on the trade. We're in the middle of a really big follow through. I'm going to hold on to a small piece just in case we keep going. I've got about 10% of my position left. I took profit on this thing like 5 times today. It just kept going and going and going and going. And I'm just, every dollar, I'm just like, boom, more shares, until I just said to myself, all right, we're going to hold on to a piece of this. But what the lesson I want you to take from this is actually kind of multifold. I don't want you to just look at it like, oh, wow, great, good trade. Yay. No, learn from it. Okay. The first thing I want you to learn is if a stock is truly strong, you'll get more than one crack at it. 38 was support. That was my entry point. I didn't get it. The stock took off without me. I didn't fret. I didn't get mad. I didn't get upset. I didn't kick and scream. I said, okay, I like this still. I want to find another opportunity for me to get into this trade. If the stock is truly strong, we'll get more than one crack at it. So then we need to set to ourselves, okay, let's see if the prior day's high becomes support. If we pull back into that prior day's high, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go long. Then you get the pullback into that level, and then we go long. This is where the second lesson comes in. Do not shy away from an entry point because the stock is going in the opposite direction currently that you think it's going to go in the future. The whole point of being a trader is you're trying to determine what the stock is going to do next, not what the stock has already done. You can't go from 47 to 43 without red candles. But a trader that has low confidence, a trader that has little experience is not going to be able to enter this trade because the stock is going down. And they're going to go long, so they want the stock to go up. So most traders will wait until this happens, and then they'll go long. And when you do that, and you go long here instead of here, your risk reward is far different than mine. I am long from what my stop loss was 41.75 on the entry. So my stop loss was right there. So there's my entry. I'll highlight it a little bit bigger for you so you guys can see it more. It was actually a little higher than that. It was actually right there. So there's my entry. This is my stop loss. This line, I'll make it red. Okay, just so there's no confusion. So red was the stop loss. Okay, so there's the entry, there's the support level, and there's the stop loss. Notice how my stop loss is not here. My stop loss is under the support level, under the support, not in the support, under the support. Okay, so there's my entry, there's my stop. Now, if you'll notice, if I'm long at 43.5 and you're long at 45, that's an extra $1.50 of risk. I traded the equity. Members jumped in and followed me. They took the 45 strike, May 9th call option, and it was just an absolute freaking monster. Absolute monster, guys. So congratulations again, all my members that caught this trade with me today. We also made some money on Microsoft. We also made some money on Tesla today. 3 for 3 on the day. But the real winner, where I made the bulk of my money, was this HIMS trade. And it was just an absolute thing of beauty. Nice short squeeze there for the stock. And we'll see if we can get maybe a little bit more out of this. You know, your next big resistance level is up around 57 or so. It's going to be right here, this previous support, then a big gap down. That creates the gap entry for the top. That's 57. So that's your next huge resistance level. I don't know if the stock's got the juice to get there, but with 30% of the float short, you just never know. So I'm going to be in this. I'm going to hold on to a runner and just to see if I can eke out another like $4 or $5 or so. Okay. And that's it. My stop loss on the runner, my stop loss on the rest of this position is going to be back against this previous resistance, which is 45.5 to 46. So 45.5 to 46. You guys look back here on my screen. There you can see it was resistance. Then you have a structure support level right here, and then bang, you gap underneath it. And after the gap underneath it, it became resistance. Well, now you broke through that. So this level, now that we've broken through it and we've cleared that level, we look for this level to now be support. So on pullbacks tomorrow, right, if you get a pullback tomorrow on this, you want to see 45.5 or so. You want to see that level hold, and you would like to see the stock put in a candle that looks something like this. If you can get a candle that looks something like this tomorrow, a nice little consolidation candle, a pullback, and a confirmation of that prior resistance becoming support, then we should be able to get a follow-through short squeeze and get this thing up into the mid to low to mid 50s, and we can take our final profit off. You know, maybe we can take our final profit off towards the end of the week, but I'm going to hang on to this runner and see if I can get a little bit more out of this short squeeze. I'm long from 43 and change. All right. How about that? How is that? Hope you guys had your paper and pen out. Hope you guys were taking some notes. Lessons galore on this YouTube channel. Lessons galore. Lessons, analysis, commentary, trade ideas. You name it, we've got it. Daily basis here inside of True Trading Group. And that type of analysis is something that you guys can expect on a daily basis as members of True Trading Group. When you guys do join the community, you join 10,000 members from 114 different countries that genuinely give a damn whether or not you succeed or fail. And the reality and the truth is that the vast majority of our members are making money. They are becoming better traders. If there's anybody that's on here, if you guys are not members of TTG, I want you to watch this. I want you to pay attention real quick. If you are a member of True Trading Group, if you are a member, I want you to type the number 1 in chat right now if you are simply making money and becoming better traders with TTG. If that answer is yes, if you are making money, if you're becoming a better trader, type the number 1 in chat right now. Anyone that's on this live stream that is not a member, I want you to pay very close attention to how many people you see type the number 1. I challenge you actually to count how many people you see type number 1, because I know you're not going to be able to count. I know you're not going to be able to keep up because I know how many of our members are having success. Not because I just say it to be true, it's because they say it to be true. All of these people were once in your exact same shoes watching a live stream. You probably just learned more in the last 30 minutes with me on this live stream than you learned in the previous year trying to figure this stuff out on your own. Imagine what you would be doing if you were a full-time member and you were guided by myself and 8 other professional traders that have decades of experience. There is a reason why Benzinga gave us the Benzinga FinTech Award. There's a reason why we have a partnership with OpenAI. There's a reason we have a partnership with the NASDAQ. There's a reason we have a partnership with Unusual Whales. There's a reason we have 10,000 members from 114 different countries. It's because this platform, this program, this community, the tools, the resource, the education, the mentorship, the trade alerts, it works for people. And if they can do this, so can you. These people do not have more time than you. 82% of our members have a full-time job. If they can do this, then so can you. There's no reason you can't. We have a mobile app that you download. I don't care if you can't be in front of a computer. I don't expect you to be. If you were required to be in front of your computer all day, every day, I assure you, we would not have 10,000 members. We'd probably have 2,000, considering 82% of our members have a full-time job. So the only people that would be members are those that are retired, work from home, or are full-time traders. That's not realistic. You download the mobile app, iPhone, Android, you stay connected to our chat every single day. You get real-time push notifications when our moderators enter and exit their positions. This way you can follow along. This way you can follow along with what we are doing on a daily basis. How many of you are on this live stream right now that are not members? Wait, hold on. Ask Muncher says, okay, bots. Okay, first of all, I love the username. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not even upset that you're saying these people are bots because your username is just that incredible. Ask Muncher is the username. I really do love it. All of my members, okay, all of my members, I want to make sure that you guys, to prove that you guys are not bots, I want you to type today's date. So all of my members, type today's date in chat right now to prove to Ask Muncher. I can't believe I've said Ask Muncher as many times as I have on this YouTube, on this live stream. But to prove you are not bots, go ahead, guys, right now, type today's date inside chat right now. Ask Muncher, pay very close attention to how many people you see typing today's date, because these are not bots, my brother. I don't fault you for the skepticism. I really, truly don't. There's a lot of people on YouTube that don't know their ass from their elbow. They're totally full of crap. I really do. I understand it. A lot of the people that you see that are members of True Trading Group, they were once as skeptical as you are now here today. I don't fault you for it. I really don't. What I do ask, though, is that you actually do give True Trading Group a shot and find out what 10,000 members have already figured out. Find out what OpenAI knows. Find out what the NASDAQ knows. Find out what Unusual Whales knows, and find out what Benzinga knows, because we have partnerships with all of those companies to make our platform the single best, most valuable, highest, level of success for our members that there is in this space and that there is in this industry. You guys can actually, if you're not a member, okay, if you are not a member of True Trading Group, you guys can actually go to ttgoffer.com right now. If you guys are serious about this, okay, if you guys are serious about True Trading Group, you're serious about, trying to become profitable, you're serious about learning this stuff, I'm going to offer you guys right now, go to ttgoffer.com. Now, our business model is normally a full year, an annual membership. I'm going to let you guys try True Trading Group for 90 days. This way, you don't have to lock yourself in for a year. I'm going to give it to you guys for 90 days. And I'm going to also include access to the AI tool. Now, remember, our AI tool is an award-winning tool. Okay, not because I say so, because Benzinga says so. There we are, receiving the award at the Global Benzinga FinTech Award ceremony. There we are. That's myself. Third from the right is myself. The guy standing all the way to the right, not at the podium. The guy standing all the way to the right, the shorter one. That's my business partner, co-founder of True Trading Group. That's Adam. And the other two guys to our right, your left, those are guys from Benzinga. I believe that might be the COO, if I'm not mistaken. So they say so. So you guys can join True Trading Group for 90 days. You get access to our entire annual membership, but for 90 days. There's no restriction. There's no limitations. You're going to get the award-winning AI tool for 90 days. You're going to get all of our courses, okay? Simplified and expanded upon version of the training that I received working at a fund in New York. You're going to get Benzinga Pro's newsfeed. You're going to get TradingView's premium charting software. You're going to get the Trade Ideas scanner on our platform for you guys to use. You are going to get unusual options activity, options flow, dark pool data, short data, congressional trading data, a video library with 1,000 hours, 1,000 hours of our, yes, AMHC. It is an infomercial, but I actually call it an edumercial because if you paid attention to the first 50 minutes of this live stream, my brother, then you would have gotten more information and more education that would have actually helped you become a successful trader. I've been doing this for 19 years. I just gave you 50 minutes of straight up pure knowledge, education, experience to help you make money tomorrow. That's what I just gave you. And there are 10,000 people from 114 different countries that are damn glad that I come on this YouTube channel and I explain to people how they can join True Trading Group. And if you do join True Trading Group and you can't make back your membership fee, this is how much I put my money where my mouth is. I will give you double your money back. How's that sound for an infomercial? How many infomercials on QVC do you see offer a double your money back guarantee? How many pieces of garbage on QVC do you pay $100 for and they give you back $200 if you want to return the product because you hate it? You join True Trading Group for an annual membership. If you can't make back your annual membership fee at least one time during your membership, I'm not just going to give you back what you paid. I'm going to give you back double what you paid for wasting your time. How's that for an infomercial? I know I talk a big game on this YouTube channel, but I back it up with my own money. And I back it up, and that's how I prove to you how much I believe in the platform that we've created, how much that I stand behind the success that our members have. Nobody else is willing to do that. We have a member retention rate that hovers around 74%. We have a refund rate of less than 2.5%, which is why I have no problem offering double your money back. Because we only get less than 2.5% of our members, less than 2.5% of our members get a refund. Go to ttgoffer.com. Prove me wrong. ttgoffer.com. 90-day access to our entire platform. It's the annual membership. You have access to the full annual membership for 90 days. Plus, you get the award-winning AI tool. This is normally over $1,500 for the year. You guys can do it for 90 days for $497. That's it. Go to ttgoffer.com right now. If anybody has any questions, if you have any concerns, if you need help checking out, whatever it is, text us. We are fully transparent. We are an open book. Text that number right down there at the bottom of your screen, 1-888-621-2127. Again, 1-888-621-2127. Again, that's 1-888-621-2127. You guys text that number. No, Chicken Katsu, it does not come with the deep research function. Okay? That is an additional cost. We also have a deep research function with our AI tool. Some of you may be familiar with deep research. You might have used Perplexity's deep research. You may have used Grok's deep research. Our AI tool, we do have an option for the deep research function, but then we also have just the standalone trading assistant, which is Mari, M-A-R-I. That's what we call our trading bot. That is actually what received the That's actually what received the Benzinga FinTech Award was Mari, which is our trading assistant. That's our AI. Now, you do have, if you want a deep research function, we do have that available, but there is an additional fee if you guys want the deep research. Like if you go to Perplexity and Grok, they charge $200 a month for that type of stuff. Okay, we don't charge you as much as that, but there is an additional fee if you guys want the deep research. Just to be fully transparent, just so, be, like I said, I'm an open book. Anything you guys want to know, text us 1-888-621-2127. Text that number if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, you go straight to ttgoffer.com. Anybody have any questions for me on any of the stocks that We traded today on any of the earnings names. Anybody have any questions before we go? Tomorrow's a big day, guys. It's Fed Day. Oh, you know what? Let me talk to you about the Fed meeting. So we'll be live covering the Fed meeting with all of our members inside chat, as we always do for Fed Day. Okay. But I'm a little skeptical because I just don't think that the Fed is going to give the market any inclination that they are ready to cut rates again. I think the Fed is going to be cautiously hawkish in their statement. Now, I'm not positioning myself for this. I'm not actually putting money behind this. I'm not going into the Fed meeting with the heavy open position because I don't know what the Fed's going to say or what they're going to do. I will, wait, let it come out, and then I'll trade around that. But as I look around, you just got a strong labor report, although I think that's going to change over the next, Here's what I'm cautious about. I'm cautious that tomorrow the Fed does not insinuate they're ready to cut rates this summer. And if they insinuate they're not ready to cut rates this summer, the market's not going to like that. And then you get the jobless claims on Thursday. If the jobless claims number Thursday morning is significantly higher than expected, that's going to be the second consecutive week with a higher than expected jobless claims number. That is a very bad sign going into what would be the May labor report that we will get the first week of June. The labor report we got for the month of April was strong, but the first 3 weeks of April, the jobless claims number was actually pretty good. It was in line, slightly under, it was right in line. There were no real surprises in the jobless claims number. Okay. The labor report kind of sucks because you only get one a month. The jobless claims I love because you see it it comes every week. So the last final week of April, you got a worse than expected jobless claims numbers, one of the weaker numbers that we've had since 2022. But that's the first one. Now, if the jobless claims number comes out on Thursday and it's better than expected, no harm, no foul, we're good, we're fine. But if it's weak again, now all of a sudden you're going to be worried about a trend. And if the Fed tells you on Wednesday they're not ready to cut rates, and then the jobless claims tell you, well, you probably should because the labor market's cracking, that's going to upset the market. And I think we can see the SPY back in the 540s as early as Thursday. Okay. I think you can see the SPY back in the 540s as early as Thursday. If those two things happen, I don't know if they're going to happen. I don't know what the jobless claims number is going to be. I don't know what the Fed's going to say, but I'm telling you, if those things happen, I will be short the market. I'll be short individual stocks. I will be looking for more downside if those two things happen. Flip side, if Jerome Powell comes out tomorrow and he's like, yeah, you know what? I think we're too restrictive. We're considering, we didn't cut rates this meeting, but it's probably going to be appropriate, in the very near future to begin cutting rates. If he says that, great. Markets probably bounce. If the jobless claims number comes in on Thursday and it's stronger than expected, fine. We're good. Markets can probably bounce. But if those two things happen, I'm cautious. I think you're going to see you probably can see a 15-point drop in the SPY between now and then. So we'll be ready for it. We'll be jumping all over it inside a True Trading Group. Again, guys, if you are not a member, make sure you join us. Don't trade through this stuff on your own. We've been absolutely killing it. Congratulations to another big day inside the TTG, mostly thanks to HIMS, HIMS. I'll see you guys tomorrow. TTGoffer.com. Again, if you guys are not a member, go there. Everything on that page is included for 90 days for $497. After the 90 days are up, it just expires. There is no automatic renewal. There's no automatic upgrade. If you want to become an annual member after your 90 days are up, you have to manually process that transaction. It does not automatically happen. So you guys can go to ttgoffer.com, try us out for 90 days, get access to the award-winning AI tool and everything else that comes with our annual membership. It's all listed for you on ttgoffer.com. Any questions, text us 1-888-621-1021. 2127. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, show some love, turn on your notifications. Don't ever miss out on these lives. I will be live right here again, 4:15 tomorrow after the close, and we will talk about what did Jerome Powell actually say. Have a great night, folks.